Welcome to today's podcast episode, everyone. I've got a very exciting guest for you guys. For those of you just joining the podcast, we're E.N.G Media, and today I have Calvin here with me, co-founder and CEO of Vital Audio. So, Calvin, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. I'm really excited to dive into not only your journey, but all the awesome stuff that you guys are working on in the healthcare sector as well.
Thank you very much for having me, Tyson, and excited to share a little bit more about our work and story of origin. And yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I know that you've been at it for a while now. You've had your company for, I think, upwards of 3 years now up to this point. But maybe we could just start by you giving us a little bit about your background and really the origin story behind, founding Vital Audio.
Yeah, so like any other founder out there, my origin story is also motivated either by my personal experience as well as my professional experience. Primarily, I'm motivated by two components. I love healthcare for itself, but two, the number one push that got me into building a company
Uh,
is a personal loss. Losing my mother to the same healthcare system that I have been working in a little over a decade is what really catalyzed the motivation and the genesis of Vital Audio. So
I'm
I
sorry for
lost,
your loss, man.
thank you very much. I lost my mom within 8 months of her moving to the US. And
Oh, no.
that ended up translating also into my professional life, being able to stand with patients next to them, seeing how the burden of healthcare itself, converting family members to more of like caregivers and not having that opportunity to enjoy that life together. So it's what really motivated, like, let's put on my founder hat and then get to.
100%. No, I think that that's really inspiring as well. I know, I don't know if I've shared this on the podcast before, but I lost my father a few years ago, about 3 years ago as well. So I could tell how being in front of these patients that you're referring to and being in the healthcare field, how that really resonates with you, and it's a really strong driver into you starting Vital Audio. So I think that that's really inspiring for other founders to hear as well. And I know that you guys are able to, and maybe I should just let you kind of explained it as well. Could you maybe give the audience an overview of what Vital Audio can really do?
Yes. So Vital Audio has been at the cusp of innovating the voice or vocal biomarkers in the healthcare space. In the past decade, we've seen voice being used in mental health and other clinical indication. And we decided to go more into the physical health route, closing the gap between the data capture remotely and sharing the data in real time with providers.
Oh,
So
wow.
Sonometric is the name of our product, and it captures short voice clips during a traditional conversation, such as what we're having right now. And it
Uh,
uses the voice as the input to extract physiological data. So heart rate variability. Today we're doing blood pressure and rhythm classification
oh, wow.
through voice, being able to allow patients and providers to tap into their existing technologies. So like phones, tablets, any portable mobile device being able to carry the function as a medical device to share the data remotely. Yes.
Oh, wow. That's super, super interesting. I don't think I've heard of anybody in the healthcare field really doing that up to this point. Do you guys have any like direct competitors that are offering that same kind of solution?
In the current state, we do not. Most of the competitions that we have that are surrounding the voice are primarily in mental health. We're seeing a little bit more in the Parkinson's space, and which is highlights a little bit of medication adherence. Are the patients compliant with the medication regimen and prescription time that they're actually supposed to be taking? So we're seeing a little bit more of that.
100%.
But from the physical health standpoint and also the respiratory component, there's a lot being done at the moment with respiratory and voice at the moment. So,
And I know that you guys want to become, like a global leader in your space and, with digital voice biomarkers specifically. So you guys are really looking to drive innovation as a company at Vital Audio. And, from what I could see on your guys' website and on social media as well, you guys are leveraging AI kind of in your systems and your processes for how you guys are accomplishing your overall goal. Could you maybe shed some more light into maybe specifically kind of where the AI is coming into play, and how it's helping you guys maybe be more efficient, maybe provide just like an overall more holistic solution?
Yeah. So uh, I love that question because it highlights two components. I think most people think that AI automatically, just because you incorporate it,
Mm.
it solves the broader picture of what you're trying to do. What Sonometric does, to be quite frank and upfront, is one, we apply first signal processing to do the computation. So we compute for these vitals rather than actually just plugging in the AI to do an assessment of like frequencies. We compute first. The AI component that we're overlaying is what allows us to take the data that we have and correlate it to more of like clinical indications or disease processes. Is
Oh,
this
wow.
fib? Is this heart failure? Patient with heart failure being now decompensating? Is the patient improving or is the patient condition worsening? Those are the areas in which we are looking to leverage AI and alleviate majority of the clinicians. Whenever you hear most of like the clinicians burn out, you think primarily of providers doing more administrative work rather than that the clinical component of their role. And the entire objective of us applying these equipments, especially AI and machine learning, is to not only capture this data, but make sense of this data so that providers can have left when it comes to supporting the patients or providing personalized care in the long term. And the only way we can accomplish that is by effective use of AI. And one thing that I would love to flag about our technology as well, as the second component, is we do not use generative AI data. Our data requires us to capture data in real time, process them, make sense of the data, and then only then we can actually put them into the broader picture of classification of indications based on disease processes.
Wow. Wow. Super, super interesting. So yeah, you guys aren't providing essentially like a basic AI solution. It's got a very specific objective that it's looking to accomplish. And I appreciate you sharing some insight into kind of what that process looks like for you guys as well. And I know that from what I could see on LinkedIn, on the company's posts and on your page, you guys aren't done investing and driving even more continued innovation in your technology specifically. You guys are competing against other companies in the healthcare space. And so a question that I had for you is, are you guys looking to raise any kind of funds to do anything new or roll out any new initiatives, I guess, with your technology in the next 6 to 12 months?
In the next 6 to 12 months, yes, and primarily the fund will be directed more into full commercialization effort. To share a little bit more of context, like yes, we're definitely looking to become that global and industry standard for anything remote patient care. Meaning,
Nice.
if I'm at home right now trying to jump on a call with a provider, then
Yeah.
we want Sonometric to sit at the very front end, to sit during the visit as well, and even post that visit, like patient leaving the hospital, being at home,
Oh, wow.
as well as patient follow-ups, being able to do that full suite of like capturing data, sharing data, and allowing providers to make sense of this data,
100%.
including subjectiveness of the patient's condition. Our current efforts are more to, today we're working primarily with several partners. So Minneapolis Heart Institute,
Oh, nice.
NYU Langone. We're just working with Stony Brook and Tele 911. As you already know, Ramon has been a really great supporter of the work that we're doing today.
Awesome.
Our goal or our initiative at the moment is to really mainstream how we're classifying these diseases overall and being able to tell when is the patient stable, when is the patient declining, and so forth. We're seeing the technology currently, the interest of the technology being primarily in atrial fibrillation, heart failure patients,
Oh,
and
wow.
then respiratory failure. Those are the three buckets that we're actually seeing at the moment. And that is the initial gate for us to commercialize. So
Yeah.
we have a little bit of regulatory homework to do and then full on commercialization that needs to be happening in the next 6 to 12 months. So that is the upside of us getting to open that fundraise.
100%. And as I'd mentioned, you've been at it now for over 3 years now, up to this point. I'm sure the journey probably hasn't been easy for you. What are maybe some obstacles that you've had to overcome, both you and your team within the past 3 years in, growing your company, really just getting Vital Audio to the point to where it's at now?
Yeah, so I think there's I was just reading a book most recently. Well, it wasn't a book, it was an article that I was reading. And the article highlighted that innovation, the product, the team, all those are really great. And also funds are all great things. But the number one thing that makes even startups being more successful is timing as well and the
Uh,
speed of execution. And I think we tend to overlook that to a greater extent. If someone asked me if I have a magic wand and, do my abracadabra and make
sure.
sure that the product is being used, it would be the right time to use the technology.
Uh-huh.
So the timing is right. The rate limiting step that we actually had to encounter for the most part is really converting skepticism into more of like believers because
Yeah.
it's a supernova technology. During our 3 FDA submissions, FDA confirmed that this is the first technology they see
Awesome.
in performing in this capacity from like a voice standpoint. So it required a little bit of like heavy lifting to open up the gates and allow people to understand the utility of the technology and get grasp that this is like you can see it on our website that we kind of highlighted that your next vital sign is your voice, and we actually really mean it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so your voice has a lot of information that we're just working on extracting and allowing your voice to be used at a capacity that will allow providers, payers, and yourself to really personalize more of empower you in personalizing your
Yeah.
healthcare experience.
100%. So essentially, and I'm not an expert in the technology field by any means, but we're going to get to a point to where you can essentially take my voice as we're speaking on this podcast right now. And let's just say that maybe if I'm at risk for potential heart failure or if I have any kind of heart problems, you guys will actually be able to detect that with your technology. Is that correct? Would you say?
Yeah, so that's the number one objective is really like all the disease processes. So one of the things that we ended up learning in the process throughout the entire process of building is there is not a lack of hardware, but there is a lack of really tapping into the full potential of hardware. The number
Gotcha.
one instincts from everyone who is building a service line is how many hardwares can I get to accomplish this specific task? But we're forgetting that there's so many avenues. And so we envision that your voice will be able to unlock majority of the things that hardware are
Oh, wow.
currently unlocking. And not to say that there's a world that I'm not saying that tomorrow we will wake up and your voice will be able to replace a Holter monitor or anything because those are more specialized, but they will be able to complement at a significant high degree the same amount of quality and output that
Wow.
would now you see patients when they go home and they don't have the means to secure it's what do you call it like an oxygen saturation machine and so
Right.
forth. You get a loaner device and sometimes you have to wait for those to get to you,
100%.
and that entire process is so complicated and we are looking to really refine that process.
Yeah.
You're being discharged from the hospital, you get phone calls that are actually scheduled at randomized time. You answer the call, we get your status, we share the status, just as what you would have with a wearable or otherwise.
Wow. I mean, that's huge. The utility for me, it's clear as day into like the actual impact that you guys are making. And, as I mentioned, when my father had passed away, he had passed away from a heart attack essentially. So it's really inspiring to see how folks such as yourself and, other people as well in like the New York healthcare scene are really looking to come in and solve and bring innovation to an overall, I guess, almost like an archaic process from how you described how things currently are handled or carried out into
Yeah.
like where you see it going into the future. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I know you guys are at the forefront of really identifying that as well.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with the way you've actually described that, and
Yeah.
to your dad's experience. The same experience was with my mom, in which I would say that it was just a phone call. Like she tried to call me, I
Mhm.
was not reachable at the moment,
Mhm.
and a few hours later, she was in the hospital. So like it just goes at length to really demonstrate that something as simple as a phone call could
Yeah.
make a significant difference between life or death, for sure.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's so awesome. Like just your guys' overall story and really where you're going into the future. And I know recently, as I kind of touched on a little bit previously, you guys recently won like the regional startup cup out in New York City, as a company. Now, from what I believe I've seen, Vital Audio is going to be traveling out to San Francisco to compete against other companies nationally. Is that correct?
Yeah, so won the regional startup World Cup in New York during the New York Tech Week,
Nice.
and we are getting ready for the startup World Cup, the global finale in San Francisco. As of yesterday, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we were just going to be getting ready for one competition, which is the Startup World Cup global finale. And by 12, we also got into the TechCrunch Startup Disrupt.
Oh, wow.
So out of more than 2,000 out of thousands of applicants, we're going to also be competing again the same month in San Francisco as well in the
Nice.
launch competition. So it's a back-to-back round for this.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I could see you guys post about some of that and on social media because I know I'm out here in Arizona. But
Yeah.
I mean, if I was in San Francisco, it'd be awesome to check out you guys, going out there and competing. And what really stands out to me is it sounds like folks are starting to be able to see the value and the utility and everything that Vital Audio is really bringing to the market now up to this point. But I know that you're not a one-man band. Like it sounds like you have a really, really solid team specifically. Could you maybe speak to some of the talent that you have on your team and really where you think that they fill in the gaps the best to help you guys get to, I guess, where you are currently?
Yeah, and that I think that segue is it's perfect. You're right. Like doing this, the entire process of building, like we see throughout the entire ecosystem of startup that there's opportunity for people to actually build by themselves, leverage a lot of the AI component and so forth. But
Yeah.
whenever it comes to Vital Audio, we do have an incredible team, a very diverse team, bringing over 3 decades of experience in building, selling, and
Oh, wow.
deploying tech in the healthcare ecosystem. We do have clinicians, we do have signal processing engineers, myself as a bioengineer. And then you also have healthcare economics experts and business development people it's an excellent team that touches a little bit of everything and brings their entire background experience. It's a very rich environment to work with. Additionally to that, I would say the number one thing that really motivates me and keeps me going is the resilience of the team itself. Building a company it's not a light lift. There's one conference I attended and they say for most part, whenever people look at companies' trajectory, they just see a straight line going like up. But the more you zoom in, you get to see those really pain points. Companies go all the way down, and there are times that we have to just figure out how we're going to make it through tomorrow. And that is not different compared to any other company. Vital Audio has also been through that entire
100%.
experience. But the team culture, the way we move together and the way we resonate with the mission is
Yeah.
what really makes the entire journey uh, it makes it worth it. And the team itself, namely Hush, Santalia, Philip Jocelyn, and Matthew Ongaro. We also have Brittany Degage, all amazing people that are actually pushing the needle, and Taehong Park as well, pushing the needle.
That's awesome. I appreciate you highlighting them, and I'd love to tag them as well as we distribute this podcast across social media because I think as you guys are winning these competition, competing against other startups in the healthcare space, I think it goes to show the power of your team. You guys getting recognized, getting accepted into a lot of these awesome competitions. I think that in the next 12 months, there's a lot of growth potential for Vital Audio, overall. And, for you as well, Calvin, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned like the founder journey isn't really the easiest. And, the company that E.N.G Media that I'm with right now, this is really my first venture as a company. I don't know if Vital Audio is the first company that you founded, but From your experience, how have you been able to deal with kind of that, up and down curve and like when things are good and they're going bad? And you've been doing it for, longer than I have, being over 3 years now up to this point. Has there been anything that's, I guess, helped you specifically throughout your journey to stay in the fight, I guess?
Yeah, I would say number one, as I mentioned, like you can have all the unlimited resources, but if you don't have the right people, then it will make this process extremely painful. So the people that you're working with are the ones who make a difference.
Yeah,
The mission is another component. One of my mentors growing up had actually mentioned one thing to me. I still carry it with me today, which is the lesson is when it comes to technical expertise, etc. So I have like 5 pillars in which I actually like explore or understand the team overall. The technical component, while it is the most valuable in most places, like you worked at Google, you worked at Apple, you worked in so many big industry names. But if you cannot blend or gel well with the people that you're working with, it defeats the purpose. Like there's times to work in silos, there's times to have that collaborative environment,
yeah,
and you want to have someone who's effective in both. I think of the entire component as a stool with 3 legs: the
yeah,
people, the mission, and just like the will to grow and the resilience itself.
100%,
Without one of that, then you cannot have like a stable stool. It will definitely fall. And
100%.
so you can get like the technical component, you can get anyone through that threshold of the technique, especially if they have the resilience and the will to grow and learn. That is definitely doable. You want a hungry team, I would say. So, but when it comes to being human,
Yeah.
it is something that you cannot teach anyone. You want someone who is a good human and who is able to work with others.
100. I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing those insights as well, and I can tell how much you value your team. So I'm sure, I know at least for me, when times might get hard in certain weeks or months or quarters are harder than others, I make it not about me. Because, if I do that, like you mentioned, it's only a matter of time, but when it's about the team, at that point, you can't really look to let them down. But it sounds like you guys are dialed in as far as you've got the people, you've got the mission, and obviously, like, you've got the will to continue to grow at Vital Audio. So I think it's like, as I mentioned, that kind of justifies the growth trajectory for you guys in the next 12 months. And, as we kind of wrap up here, what's maybe one specific thing that you'd want to leave the audience with in regards to letting them know a little bit more about Vital Audio? Like, is there one specific message you're looking to get across?
So to my point is we've talked about a lot. The one thing that I would like to for the people and everyone to leave people with at the moment is really to know the work that we're doing is really addressing some of the most painful points in healthcare. I still like to reinforce that the voice is your next vital sign, and we're here to change the way we deliver care remotely. And we're excited to not only collaborate, and we're seeking more collaborators that we can bring this technology to every household and every cellular provider as we continue growing. But this is just the beginning, and we're excited to share not only this journey with the world and continue growing together.
I know that we're gonna look back on this podcast in, 6 to 12 months from now, and, I'm just gonna be like, "Yeah, I know Calvin was talking about it, and I appreciate you coming on our show, documenting your journey, sharing some insights into what you guys are working on specifically." And I think you guys are right there about to climb over that hill, and I'm really excited to see where you guys go. And I just wanted to tell you thank you again so much for coming on our podcast and sharing your insights and really for your time, because I know you're super busy as well.
Thank you very much for also just giving me for the outreach and for the space to share our mission and journey. And we're looking forward to bringing you along this entire journey. So thank you.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And I'll be sure to include links in the description to Vital Audio's website, the social media, to Calvin's LinkedIn as well. I highly recommend that you guys do go check them out and follow along all the awesome stuff that they're working on. But other than that, we will catch you guys in the next video.
Thank you very much.